The Shug, Shane Hollister. Logan, Ineichen. Lyndon, Ehlers. Wrastlin with music and life. For life.
That's fucking brutal.
Seriously.
But here's the thing. I actually don't give a shit because I don't give a shit about birds. Because birds don't give a shit about you.
Oh,
Birds
no,
are
they do
cool.
not. They do not care.
Do you remember what a velociraptor is?
Oh, it's a bird, dude.
From Jurassic Park?
It's a bird.
And they look at you the same way that velociraptor did.
What do you think
Doesn't give a
happened,
shit.
though? Like, I mean, I assume this thing's just killing for food, but
Now, if
you
there
think that
isn't
bird
a
was fucking
Wait,
with
hang
it?
on. There is a pause where it looks like he or she, this monkey, is eating something, or chimpanzee. I can't tell.
Bird's not dead enough.
It looks like King Kong just grabbed a fucking airplane and is like, no, bitch! That's fucking brutal. Look at all the other birds that don't give a fuck. They're just like, shit, where's the food?
Hey, there goes Chad.
Well, on that note, episode 4 of Wrestling with Music and Life. I am Logan Ineichen. Again, there is an intro, but we're going to say our names real quick.
Hey, the Shug, Shane Hollister.
The Lyndon Ehlers.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah, you did
They're
it.
here,
You did it.
in-house, in basement. All right, so today I definitely wanted to talk about something that is just a quick question, and I think we should start from there. There's eras, right? Like
Yes.
the 80s. My first question is, because last we talked about, movies last time?
Yeah.
And it was the last segment or whatever. I think we should probably say, just in general, what is the best era for wrestling and music? Okay? I think we
that's
have
tough.
a bias.
We
But
might.
I just want to be shocked by your guys' answer. Go ahead, Shug.
Okay, so this is tough for me because obviously the golden age, well, they say the golden age of pro wrestling was the 80s, but to me, the real golden age, we know, is the Attitude Era, which was obviously late 90s, early 2000s. Musically, I don't agree. So that's what it makes it tough. But if I want to narrow down music and wrestling at the same time, obviously would be the 80s, and I was watching a lot of wrestling in the late 80s.
It's a hard question.
It is. It's tough.
Yeah.
I am totally into like a lot of metal, and I'm gonna say it right now, I'm into all that cheesy hair metal that like my dad, showed me when I was a kid.
Hell yeah.
And like I still love a lot of that stuff to this day. But the wrestling, it's tough because like 80s was huge. Obviously,
Right.
the first WrestleMania was in the 80s. You know what I mean? Like it was blowing up and it was huge in pop culture. Like they had, Alice Cooper was at a WrestleMania. Like Cyndi Lauper was at a WrestleMania. Like it's huge. You know what I mean? Right. So, and that was 80s. But I don't know if I actually loved the 80s wrestling.
So you going with 80s?
I guess I'm going to have to
that what's
go.
happening?
If we're lining up music and wrestling at the same time, I guess I'll have to go with 80s, late 80s, yeah.
Landers.
No.
Yes.
It's always gonna be cool.
Yes.
No. So okay, I can't do music and wrestling at the same time. I don't even have a favorite era of wrestling because I can't speak to wrestling as much.
Well, did you watch like Hulk Hogan when you were a kid?
No. I would go with Shane, and I was introduced to wrestling during the Attitude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I can only I know a little bit about 80s wrestling from you guys.
Right.
That's it. Attitude Era is before I knew anybody in wrestling or anybody that did anything with wrestling, and I was like slightly interested because of the video game aspect. I played a lot of video games and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, wrestling and music though, when you're putting them side by side, man, like there's one has a lot more mileage than the other, and so like I wouldn't say that I would say with music, literally the best era of music should always be today.
Yeah.
I think. Like, I would say the best musicians that have ever existed exist today.
Yeah.
And that's to
dude.
me, that's always how it.
Ego.
No. Hang on.
The same is probably for wrestling.
No, you know what? Now it almost makes me want to retract what I said, but
before, like, it's just with, with
we can
music.
take retractions.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we have a while. Well, with music, like, you have like stuff, you have like people and things that laid groundwork, right? But I think with things like music and just any kind of like art, you can appreciate that, but you can't look back at something and be like, this is the end all be all because it started this. So that is, no matter what, if you think of anything above this, you're wrong. I mean, that's insanity because somebody like a band like Meshuggah did something and then like umpteen amount of people took it and like did their thing with it, which
they're still doing.
And Meshuggah is still, I mean, like, so maybe that's a bad example, but and I actually kind of, in my limited knowledge of wrestling, I would assume that wrestling is, depending on what you're looking at though, right?
Yeah.
Because like I think a lot of people, the argument for 80s for a lot of different things, whether it be wrestling, music, and movies, could be made for the best era of whatever, depending on what you're arguing.
Right.
True.
Because what counts as a best era? What the fuck does that even mean? Like
10 years.
Like, I think if you wanted to look at movies, to get specific, if you wanted to look at movies, you want to look at like effects and practical effects, it was definitely, objectively, that's the 80s.
Oh, for sure.
It was happening.
For sure.
And there's something you can't really argue.
Right.
You can be like, I don't like that. But, well, that's not, you get out of here. You're not involved in this. So, like, with music is always evolving, and I feel like you can say like my favorite era of something would be the 80s, like wrestling, or it did all these things that skyrocketed into these other things today.
Right.
But man, what is you can only say past eras are the best when nothing new is happening.
I guess that's true.
Would you not agree that there are people doing more interesting things in wrestling now than ever were?
Okay, no, hang on.
Yeah.
He's right, but also with wrestling, I think because of it's a visual, an attention span for human beings like today, like it's a fucking goldfish.
0.
So everything is
-12.
But with music, it touches you in a different way. So even a slow build, some people will get into that and like it touches you differently. So pro wrestling is like it's so easy for somebody to see something and it might not be moving fast enough, and then this.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's at your fingertips.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
faster. Yeah.
But like some people's attention, that's why wrestling has gotten so much faster. And like, it's got to be. It's your attention span. But sometimes there are those aspects where you can slow it down. It just when everything else is so fast, and you just take it back a little bit and just feed them in a little bit more.
I can build off what you were saying about the phone, and that you have so many other ways to watch wrestling and like steady it now. Like if that's what you're doing.
Right.
And then is it up to like the people who consume it to help it grow like that?
Right.
Like people appreciate, chain wrestling and
right.
the nuances of something like wrestling, or are they just consume it like candy and
I think it's a bit of both. You know what I mean? You'll have those diehard fans that like will love like the slow down, the slow pace. But then there are the fans that are like, I mean, younger fans, you can do that too for sure, because no matter what they see, it's still kind of new. So like kids, but like adult fans, like who are like these, these wrestling fans that think they know everything, like we talked about last week, that, they'll critique your matches like they know what the fuck they're talking about.
Right.
But like they'll go to a show and then if it's just not to their style, like I watched somebody shit on somebody I respect very much, like on AEW, they shit all over Eddie Kingston, and Eddie Kingston was put over by Colby years ago. He says Colby was like, dude, I believe in every fucking thing he's doing, like, because it looks like he's in a fucking fight the entire time he's wrestling. We get that. But this new generation who wants to see these dudes do the whole time, like somebody's running in
Every
flip
time he does
flops.
that, I get excited, and I don't know why.
Somebody's running in flip flops. It's like, dude, like that doesn't have to be that way. You can have those aspects. You can have those guys go do that. Like I watched last time we did our podcast, I went down to Lopez and watched the pay-per-view, and like I had not watched an AEW pay-per-view in like forever, so I sat down and watched it, and then there's so much of that just like firing a machine gun, because I feel like, again, like people's attention span, it's so easy to lose. So like when somebody get in there and like shits on like Chris Jericho's match with Eddie Kingston, which was fucking awesome, and I bet 90% of it was called in the fucking ring too, which is even cooler to me. Like stuff like that, and then people to shit on them. It's like, dude, come on, man. You got to have the aspects. You know what I mean? You can watch a Marvel movie. You know, there's that slow down where they want to pull you in. That's important.
There has to be some exposition.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Isn't
like
just an explosion.
Yeah, just like, all right. So prime example. One of the coolest martial arts movies I ever watched was Ong Bak.
That sounds familiar.
Was the story cool? Fuck no. The story was stupid as fuck. The fight scenes were cool as shit.
Is that what Ong Bak means?
I don't know. I'm assuming.
Fight scenes are cool, but the story sucks.
But again,
Never heard
all of those strikes in those movies were legit.
Okay.
He landed.
Fucking Tony Jaa.
Yeah, Tony Jaa's a bad motherfucker. But his movies, like story-wise, sucked asshole.
I would argue the Protector was good because he's going to save his elephant friend.
Yes,
It's like a
okay.
baby
There was a little bit of a story there, true. But still,
It's silly.
still, like, what the fuck kind of story
have
is
not seen
that?
Oh, dude, the Protector.
Yeah.
Like, the Protector has this fucking one-take scene. It's like a fight scene between him and like 50 people and like several floors of like this. Is it like,
Yeah.
it's like a parking garage or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All one shot. And it's like people flying off balconies. Like, it's stuntmen elite, like this whole way through. The Protector is fucking dope. Like,
The longest running run spot you've ever seen in pro wrestling ever.
unbelievable.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
Unbelievable.
Dude,
Damn
it's
it.
awesome. And like,
Sold me.
but the story of the movie is complete dog shit. So like
Yeah.
that's my thing, is like these wrestling fans that'll be like, that was a 5-star match. Blah, 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 blah. Like, where the fuck was the story? Like,
what was
cool.
behind it?
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, there was nothing behind it. There was no real, like, what the fuck is he fighting for? You know what I mean? Like, it happens all the time. And again, attention span. Like,
Yeah.
Well, then,
this is
So
slow.
again, I guess I didn't get to say my era.
Right. Go
My
ahead.
era is obviously the 80s. So the reason why I say the 80s for me is because of nostalgia. Like,
Right.
And that's perspective. That doesn't really have anything to do with the era being so great. I was trying to spin off that because my era question is kind of me thinking about the eras and how things start. So you kind of, Lyndon, you hit something on the head when you were like, well, I mean, people didn't have a point of reference in that time, and they just kind of did do original stuff. And there's two things that happen with that, which is styles of wrestling start
Yep.
and styles of music start in the 80s that really hadn't happened. And that was kind of what I wanted to talk about, which is very similar in that in the 80s, wrestling was huge,
Yeah, it's
right?
massive.
Where it was big in the 70s, but it wasn't like your Hulk Hogan, is all I have to say, right?
So-
it wasn't your superstars, right? And then same with music, especially for the music we love, guys. I
Right.
mean, metal.
Right.
That was nothing before. I mean, obviously, like, do you want to say Black Sabbath? And that's
Still
kind of where I
70s.
say, just after listening to Black Sabbath today, I'm like, this is like metal as fuck.
Yeah, bro,
To
because they
me,
started it.
Of course.
man,
Now,
if you
that's
ask
not
me.
every one of their songs. Obviously, Geezer Butler and all the guys, phenomenal musicians playing like jazz and funk, and they're doing like every style of music in that fucking band back then. But and not every song is heavy
There's a
as
lot
shit.
going
But
on in Black Sabbath.
but
Yeah,
when you
there's
listen to
tons.
that, you know why they inspired a bunch of metal people, or
very obvious,
heavy
for
metal,
sure.
I guess would be say. But in the 80s, you had the hodgepodge of everything at the same time of what is new, and it's just kind of weird for me to think, and that's why I say 80s is my favorite era. And I'll sum it up. It's just like, how did all that happen in one era? And you don't see that in the 90s. So you do, but you don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
I know why.
Yeah.
At least I'm pretty sure I know why. And there's two things. Is one, for music and wrestling, it's the fucking it's the growth of mass media entertainment. You have giant networks like Fox and ABC and everything airing huge and making money off of fucking wrestling because it was enormous. NASCAR was nothing like it was now. Wrestling was the NASCAR. And fucking, you had that, right? And that was like the 80s. Since the 80s was prime time TV culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because then you had MTV.
Yeah.
There's
MTV.
your music. Cassettes, cassette tapes. Cheap as fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
You had people sending tapes across the country to each other. You have tape trading. You have the popularity of like zines and mail order stuff.
Speaking of, did I see a Pit Lord cassette?
Yeah, I was gonna plug that later.
Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna plug that later, and I was hopefully not
That's
interrupt the point that I was making. Yeah, so those two together, and then cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that's
I mean, like you're like, but I'm serious though. Like at least for music, I 100% put cocaine as the main reason music production got better.
Okay.
It does make sense.
Because you had people in fucking studios going
24/7.
Dude, no, dude, it could be louder. It can be louder. Like, oh yeah.
Do you have any examples?
It can be louder, and we're gonna fucking put a 20-minute keyboard solo right in here, and then like that's that was Judas Priest.
Oh, for sure, dude. Oh yeah, you know
like
it.
awesome.
You know it, dude.
That's awesome.
Like I think that it's like media, the explosion of media and drugs, and I mean just culture boom in the 80s.
But like again though, all right, so Lyndon doesn't know a lot about this stuff. So Vince McMahon broke barriers and walls down that he wasn't supposed to. He did shit that was taboo. He stole from territories. So territories, dude, like, all right, so Ric Flair was NWA, so NWA was huge, so it's everywhere. So if he was the NWA world champion, he'd show up in a territory, defend against the guy, and make it fucking huge. So like these territories have their like an SCW, like an independent level, but the territory was huge. So wrestlers were making so much better money at the time until Vince started going. Vince was thinking of the big picture, mass media. He was thinking of, I'm taking the best of all of these territories, and then I'm going to make WWF.
Because he's the best businessman ever fucking did exist.
He was genius, dude.
For sure.
And he thought of music as well. So when WrestleMania happened, like Cyndi Lauper, fucking Alice Cooper, like all these things, he would do things to make things huge because it was awesome. So and he had all these great people to build off of because he stole from every territory. He took their best guys.
Yeah, obviously though. I mean, he wanted to build something.
Right.
And fuck, man, like when you want to make the biggest thing, right? You can't, you don't benefit from like business partnerships and stuff.
Yeah.
Just to get everybody's top employees and bring them together and you fucking make it one thing. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Give a shit.
No.
Music did the same thing, especially metal music. Let's just talk about metal music because that's what we love. Literally, they had territories where they came from over here and they didn't like playing in the California area, the Bay Area. And
I don't know a whole lot about
you don't know that? Like the whole Metallica story?
Well, there is like I forgot. I just watched like the history of metal and they went through the subgenres and it actually wasn't too bad as they included a lot of bands that I didn't expect them to, and they actually talked about death metal. They talked about black metal, which wasn't necessarily.
They always do now. They won't.
They can't deny it now.
They can't.
It's genres, you know what I mean? So genres and styles, I compare, music to wrestling with that because it's like styles happened in the 80s and styles of music happened in the 80s that really didn't happen yet. And like you said, of course, we can we can deduce it down to why. You're saying is the media. I agree, 100%, and business acumen of Vince McMahon for sure. But I would just say like it's pretty crazy, and maybe it is coke. I don't know because I kind of I say I don't know because dude, I think about all the other factors make sense when you're talking about like the engineer could have been on coke.
Well,
the producers could have been on coke.
Everybody. I assume in those situations,
was Metallica on coke? Did they do a bunch of coke?
Probably.
I'm sure they did, bro.
I just thought they drank. I don't know.
Yeah, they were called alcoholica, but you know what? You know what you do when you drink a bunch of fucking booze? you do a line and you're fucking sober,
Yeah,
bro.
and then you
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you don't ever get to that point.
I was gonna say
So-
I've never been sober, so I don't know what that means.
No, so I mean, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I'm sure there were other factors too. I mean, like just technology getting better overall. But I mean, a lot of me thinks like technology got better because they needed it to, because they were like,
Right.
every single fucking thing in this band needs
Right.
to be heard. You know,
Yeah.
it's just blood, dripping out of the nostril. Like,
And they're just going.
I can't hear the triangle. It needs
Dude.
to, it needs to pierce my soul.
again, it wasn't. I mean, we're not gonna say it's only cocaine. Obviously,
no,
these
obviously
guys,
not.
they were
Yeah.
fucking. Some of this music, like you listen to, and you're like, holy shit, what the fuck were they tripping on when they recorded this?
Was Macho Man Randy Savage on coke?
Dude, all right, it's not. It's never been specified. But come on,
Was this
bro.
character a man on coke?
I don't know. I'm sure fucking
Because
Ultimate Warrior.
yeah, right.
Nothing
But
made sense.
He didn't do any coke.
But like he was so fucking amped that kids
Yeah.
didn't care. He was talking about coming down on a fucking spaceship. Like
Right.
nobody gave no fuck because he was.
Unless you were in Heaven's Gate.
Spaceship.
Do you guys know that reference?
I know that
No.
reference, yeah.
You don't know that reference?
No. Is that an Ultimate Warrior
No,
reference?
Heaven's Gate
It's
was
not a wrestling reference at all.
It's like I was like so
It's
confused.
all those people
Listen here, brother.
all those
39
that drank
people killed
cyanide for Jim
themselves.
Jones.
Yeah.
Oh,
Heaven's Gate
okay.
was the cult.
Oh,
Heaven's Gate, basically
Okay, I
to sum
forgot
it up,
about that.
a crazy dude. I can't remember his name.
Jim Jones.
Jim Jones.
No, it wasn't Jim Jones. Actually, his name was. He was an older guy with gray hair who they named Doe. He might have had something to do with Jim Jones, but
maybe
yeah, you're wrong. Heaven's Gate was an old guy
All right,
who
all right,
who
I'm
said
mixing- I'm
basically,
mixing my
"Hey
cults
guys, we got to get picked up by this spacecraft." And then it was like 20 years later, nothing happened. So he was like, "Hey, maybe we need to be outside of our bodies." And he convinced himself, of course, the 39 followers to all kill themselves, and they all killed themselves in like the Hollywood Hills, like rich ass neighborhood. So that's Heaven's Gate. Anyway, it had everything
Wow.
to do with Ultimate Warrior.
Okay then. Anyways, let's go with the Debbie Downer part there. But no, I'm
Well,
positive.
you like horror movies.
Well, I get it, but I'm positive that I mean, I can't say I wasn't there, but to me, when those guys were on and just going and like, there's all right. So there are parts where there's this one Macho Man promo where he's like he just put it all over his tongue at one point. Just a cup of coffee in the business, yeah. The cream always rises to the top, yeah. And I'm like, holy shit, bro. And his face is so fucking red. And
Looks
he's like,
like he's gonna explode.
yeah, right?
Always.
Like, and then the Ultimate Warrior was the same fucking, and sometimes even Hogan, man, like, dude was just like, listen here, brother, take your vitamins, say your prayers. I was like, what are those vitamins? Did they go up your nose? What do you mean?
Well,
The thing is, there's also
he's from Miami, right?
the thing that always drives me crazy. There are people who can do that stuff just totally sober too.
Yeah, you know what? You're right, though.
not cocaine,
And
it's
again,
just-
they can just turn it on.
Dude, I mean, I've known people that go on stage and act like absolute fucking maniacs, and it's like, well, don't touch alcohol or nothing, and like
Yeah.
that's just in people.
Are you usually
sometimes.
bored of them though? I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, whatever. I'm not saying like I need to be fucked up
Right.
to go on stage because I don't. It's fun, and I don't get like fucked up.
Right.
I have like
Just have a
2
few.
drinks and then
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, because you can't be too. You fucking try to go on stage and play a fucking instrument, or
Fuck, there's too much.
even as pro wrestling, you go out there and try to fucking move, and all right, well, I just blew that spot because I'm a drunk fucking
I mean,
idiot.
don't get me wrong. There's plenty there. I'm sure there's like a show or two that we played where either me or Dan were probably a little like too far gone, but it's rare, and because we have so much to worry about.
Yeah,
We
you have-
cues in our ears.
Yeah,
and
you
stuff
guys
to hear
are-
for it.
yeah,
and it's like
that's a lot.
God damn it, I can't be.
There's
you
no
can't
way.
just stumble up there and fucking do it.
Hey,
Well,
give me
I was
right.
gonna say it depends on the show because you go to some of the shows we played and we're like,
Yeah.
oh, there's 2 people here, man, and we didn't
man.
drink at the time, but
Yeah, no.
like what the Brandon Park one that was out at his place, it was like, if you don't get fucked up at this, it makes no sense because it's just a party and it's like you're playing in a garage. Now the garage was like had like dirt floor and like
It was a
shit's
garage.
kicking up
It was a
and
garage
it was
out
a
in
literal
Beardstown, Illinois.
yeah. Great time. I mean, it was
fun.
it was like, okay, you might as well just get drunk as shit. You're basically just jamming. You're just having a practice.
That was a night where it was like spring or summer, and we're out in the middle of the country, and it's like the night sky was perfectly clear.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking pissing next to this barn, and I was like, I don't think I've ever pissed below such a gorgeous night sky.
Wow.
And then I went back to getting drunk.
See, remembering that is awesome, man,
Yeah.
because I don't remember that at all. Everything was quite blurry.
You drank a lot more than I did.
That's fair.
I drank more at that time in my life than I have in quite a long time, and like man, that was a fun night.
Yeah, because we had Tommy and his crew played as well. Why am I?
Tommy was playing with you guys,
and yeah, he was playing with us.
Oh
but
yeah,
Septum Memnon
played too?
Yeah, they played early on. You might have got there later. After
I did.
And then they slept in the barn.
Yeah,
and there was like fucking
that's cool.
rats and critters.
That's cool. I don't
dude.
give a shit, man.
No.
Like,
yeah,
it pisses me off when people are like, I don't want to sleep in a fucking
Fuck that,
like
dude.
sleep
You know
on
how
a
many
floor,
times-
bitch.
you know,
Floor.
like rap, gangster rap. They got to go to jail and shit. You know, to get their cred.
Yeah.
Septum Memnon. Just think about that band name, even though I just said it incorrectly.
Yeah.
Septum Memnon. Sleeping in a barn literally gets them cred.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like,
You know, well, because you and I have played with or traveled with plenty of people that are like,
right.
I don't want to sleep on the floor.
Oh,
like, God
wow.
damn it. I'm sorry, do you want to do something?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to do you give a shit about, like, you want to play music? Do you want to wrestle?
Yeah.
I remember how many
Right.
times we had, like, a room full of people sleeping in our living room,
Yeah.
like, for wrestling.
yeah.
I'd come home from work and there'd be, like, 8 people, and I'm just like, cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's like-
That's not even a lie, dude.
That is-
That's not even a lie.
Great.
I would just step over people because it's like, I mean, I relate to that 100%.
So for some people that don't know I want to clarify that we lived at the same house, all of us.
Yeah,
not
we did.
necessarily at the same time, but
we
we
did.
also did.
Yeah,
I think
pretty
I was
much.
living in the basement or something at that time for a second when Shug had that room that I lived in for a while.
Did you actually live in the basement too? That means you and Bob lived in the basement.
So I think
separate
it was.
times.
I went there. I was like, I can clear this basement, and then I realized that I'd be sleeping next to like dead children cauldron that had blood all over it. It was just this old spider. What do they call it? A spider oven or some shit?
It's got an octopus furnace.
Fucking
And I'm like,
1,000-year-old.
Creepy
I
as
tried.
fuck.
I slept down there for one night, and I was like, I'm just gonna say that I live in the basement of these guys, but I'm just gonna sleep on the couch, and that's what I did for
Yeah,
about a
you gotta
month.
remember that's what it was.
Yeah.
Just living in the living room, which whatever.
But again, we did have insane parties. I mean, that place
dude.
was just nothing but a party. And what he's saying is, artists obviously like to accumulate there for some reason at the end of the night, and you just be like, oh, this is every day.
There would be ageless shows or ancient shows, and there would be 10 people at the house before I even got back there. Like with my gear and shit, and there'd be a house full of people. And,
Right.
like, man,
That was good times.
We ran shit in that place, though.
So-
Holy fuck.
Let's keep with the era thing. How and why? This is what I always think about, especially with bands and individuals. Doesn't have to be bands. It could be also movies and stuff like that. How and why do people ascend to a level that nobody else is at? That is always a curiosity within their art. And obviously we talked about Hulk Hogan, right?
Drive and sacrifice.
Yeah, but a lot of you got to remember, Hulk Hogan wrestled with some of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like 20 of them I could list. Okay.
Right.
And they weren't Hulk Hogan. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So there's something that makes greatness. And it would be a really good thing to talk about. Not just, again, we're not great, but that's something I think about a lot in my head. Like what made him or her or whoever it is. I think we can easily talk about Hulk Hogan. We can easily talk about Metallica.
I think if you strive to do anything and be good at anything, there's no problem with comparing yourself to people that are the best at it.
Right.
Why wouldn't you?
Right. Oh, no, that's true.
Why the fuck wouldn't you? People going, oh, well, but we're not that band. Well, we could be.
Right.
If we were doing shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If we're doing things the way they're doing it to an extent and in ways that apply to what we're doing, I mean, Tim always did that. And anytime we were listening, we were like mixing something.
Yeah.
You and Tim would be listening to like Meshuggah or something,
Yeah.
just trying to mix it to sound like a Meshuggah
That's called
song.
referencing the wrong thing at this.
Well,
Not necessarily.
Because we weren't Meshuggah. Like,
No.
we're doing this death metal thing, so we should be referencing that to death metal.
but like mixing and
Yeah.
production wise and everything.
see, I knew what he was going
doesn't
with.
mean that we were correct,
Right.
but I think if you want to do something and you have certain artists or performers or whatever that you know are is what's influencing you to do it, then fucking use that as a reference.
Yeah.
So again, with Hogan though, a lot of people looked at his WWF stuff or his WWE stuff and forget that the man had put in fucking work.
Right.
Like, he wasn't just a fucking big dude. When he broke in, somebody purposely broke his fucking leg to try to get him out of the business, to try to teach him a lesson. And besides that, the dude was world traveled before he was in WWE.
Yeah.
He went over and fucking wrestled Japan, and his finisher was a fucking clothesline they called the Axe Bomber. Which is fucking awesome. Like,
That's
dude,
cool.
to work in Japan, which we'll get to later, you have to be fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be some dude who's got a character and is over the fucking top and still keep up with those guys in Japan, because that shit
And
don't
that goes
work.
with music, too.
Yeah.
Like, any band that played in Japan, you gotta, like, legit. Because they don't, in metal, I mean, probably later on they did, of course. But, like, Pantera would play in front of seated people that are just watching and going, that's
dude.
good. That was a good song, And that would just kill me. Like, if I was playing a show and people are just sitting down, I'd be like, okay, I gotta reach this dude and just pull him out, brother.
Right.
But yeah, your point is awesome.
But again, back to Hogan, back to Vince, rewind, steals AWA's big top babyface because he was a bad motherfucker, dude. He was good in the ring, he looked amazing, and he was fucking bigger than life. So why wouldn't you snatch that guy up? And then obviously Hogan was smart enough to know that I know how to work. I can go out there and fucking do all this shit that like all these Japanese guys do, or all these, high flyers can do, because Hogan could do fucking enziguris and shit, dude.
Right.
Like, he could. So, like, he didn't have to.
Yeah.
He was smart enough to go, I don't have to do any of that shit, and I'll make tons of money and could potentially, obviously, he's one of the names that when you think of pro wrestling, people go, Hulk Hogan.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that is.
So what do you think about when you think about metal?
Me, metal?
Yeah.
We already talked about it in a way. It was like, obviously, the first initial metal sound to me would be Black Sabbath.
Okay, so the casual person's going to go Black Sabbath. They're not going to go Metallica?
No. Yeah, they probably would. Because
Okay.
a casual person nowadays would be like, oh, Metallica. Because that would be stuff that actually pulled them into metal in the 90s, or even in the 80s. They were like, well, Metallica.
But I guess I'm just always curious, why does that happen? Because again, there was Hulk Hogan, but there was Macho Man Randy Savage, and then there was the Ultimate Warrior, who almost was
surpassed him.
I wanted a Ultimate Warrior thing more than I wanted Hulk Hogan.
I think they're.
But go ahead.
Sorry, I think there's with wrestling. Wrestling wants a face.
Yeah.
You have people and names that are synonymous, but very few that. I mean, you can ask anybody that's into wrestling,
right,
and they would say Hulk Hogan. They would say these names.
Right.
I think with metal and just let's say metal. I think metal it's gonna span a lot more ideas. Some people would say like Led Zeppelin. Like some
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin would be
is
metal. Really?
Yeah, they kind of were. You never heard that? There's their argument.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's correct. I'm not saying it's correct, right? But
there is that argument.
You got to consider when Led Zeppelin was around, there were probably heavier things, but it wasn't nearly crossing the ocean like Led Zeppelin was.
Right.
True.
So, I think that's somewhat similar, but I do think metal. I think in general, metal. If you were to grab some random dude off the street and be like, "What is metal?" or what you think of, and then they could say any number of things, any number of bands. Really, they could say Slipknot at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
which would be
era.
I feel like if I grab somebody off the random street, they don't know nothing. They're going to be like, "Well, nature's metal."
Oh my god.
I watch this Instagram channel and it's just cows getting eaten.
No, we literally
it's-
started the fucking podcast
But I
with a
think
goddamn ape
that's like
hammering a seagull.
yeah, that's because it's the
Yeah.
funniest thing ever. But I
It's
think
Lyndon's cousin or something.
wrestling again is so much more singular faces.
True.
Yeah.
Because it's individuals.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like and
Somebody fall?
also you could also say that it's because it's been around for less time, compared to metal, metal and rock. There's less to pull from.
But hang on, you forget that wrestling's been around longer than metal. Traveling longer.
Well, yeah, traveling, sure.
But yeah,
But nobody gave a fuck
it's true.
until people
Well,
gave a fuck, but
But it wasn't on this massive scale that it is now.
not till
Vince
we said,
McMahon.
like 80, yeah.
Vince McMahon in the 80s.
So
So you're saying the 80s is the best?
No. That's what, this
I want to
explosion-
win again, like I won with the gimmick
I would say,
thing that one day.
did I
with
even
Lyndon.
did I give an opinion on what my favorite is though, or did I say
It was
that
hard
I
to
didn't
You
have
said
a-
you,
It
here's
would
what
be
happens.
era.
I asked a
Third
question
era.
and then you go,
It would be attitude.
that's a stupid question. You
It
suck.
is. Well, it is.
It's hard to
It is.
define because
But,
obviously
yeah,
It is.
But I would say the Attitude Era too because it was
Right.
so,
it's huge.
yeah,
Huge,
just
dude.
the look
Right.
of it was.
Oh,
it was
so huge.
It wasn't as '90s as everything was. It
No.
was very much like everybody looked like they fucking were part of a SWAT team.
Yeah,
a
dude.
SWAT team. Like when Shield came out,
Right.
I saw Shield for the first time, and I was like, "Holy fuck! It's Attitude Era."
Yeah.
Right. Throwback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So throwbacks are happening all the time, and I just get
Oh, yeah.
so excited.
Yeah, no,
One thing I want
Nostalgia
to talk
sells
about.
like crazy now.
Right.
We need to do something because we always talk about metal, right? And I'm gonna rob your guys' thunder, but I know Lyndon knows like a billion bands, and so do you, Shug.
Right.
One band that I want to talk about that is exactly that isn't metal, but obviously inspired by Gunship. Gunship, the band, is not metal, so
No.
let's talk about that. Gunship is something that I can put on at any mood, and it fucking makes me feel really good, and it's obviously probably some of the hookiest shit that's ever existed. What's
To us,
another
yes.
band that you guys could name that is not metal? And again, I say not metal. He released something with
There's so
the dude
many-
from Slayer.
Right,
I was gonna say there's
right.
so much crossover in synthwave.
and that's probably
metal.
why I like it so much. Is
I mean, the new Carpenter Brute is fucking metal, and Greg
Right.
Puciato sang on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, really?
So fucking good. But no, Carpenter Brute, and I don't remember the name of the song, but he released a song with Greg Puciato,
Carpenter
Black Queen, and
Black Queen again. That's that nostalgic '80s sound, almost that
Man,
new
but it's-
wave.
but it's
So fucking
new,
cool.
But it's new.
Exactly.
It's like new wave.
Yeah, dude.
But I've only listened. I haven't listened to like new stuff by them.
Like the
That
camera
was-
didn't bust
that
down.
Was, yeah, that was the.
All right, Shuggy Woogie then.
Okay, to me, again though, with back to Logan though, is Gunship still gives you like that '80s movie feel, kind of
Right.
like like the '80s new wave sound, which a lot of people, even metalheads, sometimes would be like, "Oh, we never into that shit." Like, you are a fucking liar. That's why we listen to it. You're a fucking liar.
So
Yeah.
many people who listen to metal are huge fucking liars.
Dude, I know. They're like, I'm only listening to metal. Fuck
Get
off, dude.
over it.
And
Get
you know what?
over
A
it.
true metalhead to me just enjoys music. Like, it doesn't matter what brand it is or version or fucking genre. Like, if you like music, you like music. And, like, true metalheads just love music, dude. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, right, Lyndon? Like,
I don't even like the word metalhead. It sounds derogatory.
yeah, I kind of do, too.
Metalhead.
I think it's stupid, too.
I consider myself just a fan of music. I like more aggressive music. and
Right.
That can
Yeah.
mean anything beyond metal. I like aggressive, like hip hop.
Right.
Like really angry sounding fucking hip hop.
Right.
Is dope. I love electronic music, and a lot of that gets pretty aggressive. But then I also I like anything that sounds good, which is a cliche thing to say, but anybody that wants to limit themselves to a specific genre is fucking committing a crime against themselves.
Right.
There you go.
And they're
That's
a
the best way to say
fucking
it.
liar.
Like,
Nobody only listens to one thing.
don't
so
limit yourself just for the sake of the credit you get
Calling
from
yourself-
like the fucking 5 people that listen to the same shit as you.
Lyndon,
Right.
What genre is the band Yes? What is that?
Prog
Is it
rock.
prog? Okay.
Oh, definitely, bro.
So prog rock is not metal.
Because most
I'm gonna
most of
say
yes is like proggy like rock, and it's amazing. But
Right,
then you
dude, so
have
cool.
90125, which is probably the greatest album ever made
Yeah.
by any band ever. And like they didn't start new wave, but they did for new wave like what like Cannibal Corpse did for
Yeah.
like death metal.
Oh, I
Yeah.
totally fucking agree.
They, because dude, that fucking 901-205 that went like triple platinum or something insane.
Yeah.
It didn't beat Creed. It
Yeah,
hasn't beaten
well.
Human Clay, which is like Diamond or something insane. But like,
That is nuts. That is crazy.
dude, but then even funnier, they did one more album after 9021. They did Big Generator. And it was like, okay. And then everybody quit giving a shit.
Oh,
The
dude,
last,
that's like fucking...
like Yes is like legendary. And then they kind of stop. And then like 1985, they put out 90125. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
That's it. And they still put stuff out.
Is there really like a and again, I don't want to say this because it's a pretty cliche question, but it's true. Like, I mean, is there really like rock anymore? Like
Yeah.
rock?
Yes.
Or is
Oh,
it,
yeah.
Or is it just so influenced by everything that even
Well,
though
it's-
you know it's they're intending to be rock, it's still like
I think
got a metal
I think
breakdown or
rock
something,
is
and you're
just
like,
not on its own anymore. It's
Right.
just,
Well, yeah.
it's
Bluesy.
encompassing of so many things.
Well,
but-
rock has
Right.
always been bluesy, true.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean,
Well-
there's like some psychedelic stuff I listen to that'd be considered
like
more
New
rock.
Ghost, right? Or Ghost in general, the band.
Oh boy.
Right.
That's obviously heavily influenced by like 70s rock.
Yeah, I would-
and,
I like-
but
yeah,
it
I
has
would-
metal as
But
well.
also, like, early
I would
90s
call
metal.
Ghost. If you wanted me to like really like classify Ghost, they are traditional heavy metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, oh jeez.
At one point, we almost called
there's-
them like the Alice in Chains. Like, with
Well,
like
yeah,
a-
dude. I've been thinking Alice in Chains, Dawkins.
Yeah, bro.
Like that's how I learned about Dawkins.
Dawkins,
That's how
yeah.
That's how I learned I love Dawkins was me and Zach Damp were listening to Ghost because I was
Yeah.
like, dude, listen. It was the prequel had come out, and and he's like, they kind of remind me of Dawkins, and I'm like, I've heard of Dawkins, but I've never listened to him. And
Right.
he sent me Under Lock and Key, and I was just like. I just started masturbating. It's like just
I
jacking
was
off
watching in the
violently.
window.
Like oh, so good. And then that just shot me off into like Winger.
yeah, dude, all that. Did you go down the rabbit hole? That rabbit hole of like those bands
Rat,
like that.
and I fucking
Rat,
love
like-
hair metal so
Dude,
much.
Rat, like those fucking, like some of those riffs, bro, like
dude, they-
like lay it down.
They
That fucking riff is so cool, dude.
what is it? What's that album?
I can't remember the name of the
Invading
album.
Your Privacy.
Yeah,
The Invasion of Privacy is so fucking.
That's it, yeah.
So many riffs.
Really
So
good.
many fucking riffs.
dude, so fucking. When we went and saw Shadows Fall,
Yeah.
he kept playing. I was like, dude, I know that riff. And then when I would go home after we went and saw Shadows Fall, we went and saw Shadows Fall in Milwaukee with Unearth, and then like
Great
I
show.
went home, and dude, like I kept thinking, I'm like. Besides the fucking singer of Unearth almost fucking smoking me through fucking Shadows Fall set, I was like, what the fuck is this dude doing? I turned around, it's Unearth's singer. I was like, okay.
Hey, dude.
Yeah, but like, besides that, between songs, I can't remember what guitar it was. He's now the one who fucking plays for Anthrax.
Yeah.
But,
It's nice.
Oh, John
he was-
Donis. John
yeah,
Donis.
John Donis. John
Oh,
Donis
he
is...
just put up, they did the 30-year anniversary of Vulgar Display of Power.
Right.
They put up a cover. He fucking smoked that, dude.
Yeah,
It was a
dude.
really good cover. I don't remember the song, but I just remember the singing. God, I don't even want to talk shit, but it's just like one of those where I like it because he did it in his voice.
Right.
But it's not Phil at all. Like, he's not doing any sort
He's
of
not
scream.
trying to sound
it's
like
just
him.
like, hey, what, dude? And you're like, oh, yeah, he didn't do that. But you don't need to be stick to you don't have to do the exact cover, right?
So, again, back to me. So, like, through those songs, he kept playing it in between songs. I was like, dude, I fucking know that song. And again, Dude, the whole car ride home, wherever it was, 3 hours, I don't know, Milwaukee, fucking whatever. I get home, I wake up next day, I was like, dude, that is a fucking rat riff. That was Lay It Down. I was like, holy shit, dude. Like, what?
You really want to lay it down.
Dude, so good. Dude, that riff is rad, man. It's to this day, Axel was like, I was listening to it, he's like, Dad, what is this? I was like, this is rad.
Yeah.
Oh God, we're gonna do.
If we're talking about that era, there's, and it might be, actually, this band might be a little later, but I will say, I mean, we have to say Queensryche because
Oh, yeah.
That's the one band
dude,
that
for
we
sure.
all three have clicked on.
Oh, yeah.
If we went to a bar, you're gonna hear.
Dude, I was.
Queensryche.
Oh, we're gonna walk in and it's Jet City Woman. And like all the old men in the bar, like, fuck.
Yeah, there's nobody there.
Just like kick the door and like. It's like
There's some anthems of West 2nd Street that we can
my
talk about.
God.
That's the next segment.
I don't believe in love.
That one, dude, to
It's
this
like
day.
break glasses
fucking
breaking.
love that. That's like that Stone Cold entrance.
Dude, no,
right
I got
there,
into
right there.
Queensryche before Iron Maiden. Like, I discovered
for real?
Queensryche before Iron Maiden because I loved Silent Lucidity.
Okay.
I had heard that song.
Well,
that
thanks
was
for
like
saying
a
that
Black
song.
Hole Sun kind of for me.
I have a Shug story.
God,
I
here we
remember
go.
early on, he's more smoked than I am. Let's just say
dude,
that.
I was fucking
drunk.
wasted.
And we got the couch in the. It's hard to describe for people because they've never been to this place.
Street?
Let's just say I'm sitting on the couch and he's in my room listening to Queensryche. And he is in a cry myself to sleep mode or something. I don't know what it was about.
I don't know.
And he is just got his beer like
Dude.
this, like a microphone, and he's just like, and I think it was Silent Lucidity.
It probably
and you're
was.
just like, Silent Lucidity.
I was an emo kid.
Oh, that bitch.
I was an emo kid that didn't even listen to emo music.
Yeah. I don't even know what that song's about. And again, you know, those are the times though where
Holy shit,
you
that's
just
amazing.
sit back and you just love your friends.
Open your eyes for me.
Yeah.
Dude, what's fucked up is like, come to find out, he just wrote that song about his daughter who couldn't sleep because she had
Oh,
nightmares.
see.
That
There you go.
fucking bitch and her nightmares.
Fuck, I'm going to bed.
So, anyways, Ghost
Yeah.
is heavy metal.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
That's
I don't
cool.
not really like digging the new like stuff.
You're not digging it?
No, I don't know.
I've got
It's kinda
one song
weird and
on there,
boring.
which is the, oh man, now
Well,
I'm blanking. I just listened to it too, but it's super hooky and very Ghost.
I'm not saying it's not hooky. I'm just not feeling the hooks.
I think.
Okay.
Hang on.
Okay.
I gotta ask
Sometimes
you
they
guys.
hit you later though,
Yeah, it's true.
right?
I gotta ask you
ahead.
guys a question. I don't know if it was sarcasm from Derek. Because Derek was like, these first 4 tracks slap. And then somebody laughed, and I was like, in my head, the only thing I could think of was like they were already singles.
Yeah.
Well,
That was the only thing I could think of. And I don't know if he was kidding or not.
No,
I have no
I don't
idea.
know. I think Derek's smart enough to know that Ghost is a good band.
Well, yeah, I know, but I don't know if he was
Derek
being.
loves Ghost.
Well, okay, again, I'm not saying I don't know if he was being sarcastic because those songs
because all the 4 singles off the
were
album were
already fucking released. Like I didn't know if he was
yeah.
fucking around.
Well, we're talking
That could've
about
been
the
true.
troll of trolls. Derek's been trolling before that was even a
Exactly.
thing.
That's
yeah.
why I was like,
You
dude,
know?
is he fucking trolling or is he really putting over the album? I have no fucking clue.
Because I saw that amongst a bunch of like, oh, the new Ghost album's so good. Like, so it was kind of funny.
I
Yeah.
actually have only heard one song off the new album, and that's because it was in Halloween
Which
Kills.
I didn't like
which
that
one did they
one.
put in that?
It was called Hunter's Moon.
Hunter's Moon.
Which I thought was cool because I'm
It's
a
good.
fucking I'm a Halloween.
Here's
fan,
the thing:
so.
is I don't like. I expected to eventually not like a Ghost album. I've loved everything up to now. So it's just like,
Oh, they kind of let you down, huh?
Well, and
I'm just not into it yet, and
Yeah.
maybe I'm just not in the mode. But I did
watch
just
some
get
dishes
prequel
to
on
it. That's
cassette,
what
and I've
got
been
me.
listening to that.
I put it on when I was
rad.
washing dishes, and I was just like, okay. And I just, okay, and I'll do the next song. And what got me more into it, I guess, made me want to re-listen to it, because I did go all the way through, and I was like, maybe Hunter's Moon, and like 2 of them were like really Ghost. And I say really Ghost. It's Ghost. It's Tobias Forge
It's
or
always
whatever.
going to be
Yeah,
Ghost.
it's him. I'm not-
There is something happening all the time.
Right.
But now go back and
Yeah.
listen to that Hunter's Moon and tell me
Yeah.
that I told you it was in a Halloween movie and you're not going to think of fucking Michael Myers now.
Oh yeah, it's weird. Well, I what got me into it was he used the Opeth guitar player to record all the guitars, and I was like,
Oh, I didn't know
that's
that at
fucking
all.
Super, like really like awesome to the metal community, Tobias Forge.
Right. Doing shit in the late 80s from what I've read and heard.
Even that's still a long time.
Right.
For,
Yeah, but he's not an old man.
Okay.
He's not.
I mean,
What's considered
99
old
for me.
Well, you got fucking face paint on and basically a mask
I don't
on.
think he's older than I don't think he's like in his 50s.
Well, isn't he a dead pope though? So he's pretty much infinite. By the way, hands down, one of the best shows live you will ever see.
It's such a good idea. It's such a good idea, and he clearly realized what he needed to do because I know he'd been in bands like metal bands.
It's almost like a gimmick.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to that episode. I don't know how many times we got the definition of gimmick and theme wrong.
I think we got them right every time because they meant the same thing and you were correct. But I just kept saying gimmick because I like the word.
But man, so smart. And when me and Dan were starting Pit Lord stuff, I was taking a lot of kind of ideas we need to have so much stuff planned out ahead of time, and kind of these at least soft characters and soft kind of concepts, rather
you're
than
thinking about entertainment, which is really not common in
and that's
metal.
what it is. This is what annoys me when people shit on Ghost, and it's fine, you can not like the music, but same thing with Insane Clown Posse or something, you can't deny that is winning.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that is winning, and it
is though.
Yeah.
Hang on.
No, ICP obviously another thing that is literally wrestling. They're pro wrestlers. They were pro wrestlers in the Attitude Era, by the way. It's kind of weird to see, but they actually were legit wrestlers that wrestled in the WWF at the time.
Oh, one of them fucked his face up so bad that had to have fucking plastic surgery. Shaggy Two Dope fucked his face up so bad.
So through that, what did they do? They gained that you need entertainment. You need to have people come to your show and be like, oh, I'm not going to just watch this. Unless you're a band that's so respected. So was I right?
The 90s. I was off by a decade.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
For what?
Tobias. I was off by a decade.
He's been around since the 90s?
He's been active since 1994.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, either way, that's a long time. And for him to finally make a band that is so big like Ghost, and again, what is it like? Is it what preparation meets timing is what they're saying? So maybe you could sum up Hulk Hogan. Why was he so great? Preparation, like you said, he prepared, he was trained, he was there, and then timing, or a lot of people say this word, zeitgeist. The zeitgeist moved and said, Hulk Hogan, you are the thing,
the finger of the
fucking 100 years, right? Metallica, you are the thing for 100 years. Metallica, they could release an album where they just fart into a microphone and people would buy it in millions. Which again,
somebody would.
I probably would buy it. I mean, as long as it's funny. But I mean, when you look at the era thing, I think about all the time because whenever I start playing guitar, the first guitar riff I'm going to play is probably going to have some sort of 80s vibe that I just to get me in the mood to try to write metal.
Right.
80s vibe. And then I'm going to go, oh, yeah, that's because I grew up in the 90s where we were like, yeah, the 90s is great. And it was great. Right. But you still went back to the 80s and was like, dude, look at all the pop music that came out.
Dude.
Every style of music in the 80s had the originators that could still sell out arenas. And they do.
For sure.
Unless they're dead.
Well, yeah.
Probably Coke.
In large hearts or whatever.
So we bring the theme back, right? But when we have these people that, ascended or whatever, and we still look at them as the greats or whatever, you have these Mount Rushmores or whatever, you look at it and you go, okay, well, how? And then you go, like we just said, preparation, timing, but also there was other people around them that were amazing.
Right.
And is that as prevalent now today as it's ever been? Because I just feel like the pool of talent is not as big. If we could just talk about wrestling, so it'll be a little easier, so we can narrow it down to something.
Right.
Like with wrestling, I'm not saying that the pool of talent is not good. Of course, there's a billion wrestlers that are awesome.
Right.
I just feel like those wrestlers had to fight harder, right?
Oh yeah.
And then they they just had the whole thing. Right? And what is the whole thing? You could talk on a mic. You're just entertainment. Give them a microphone anywhere, and they're going to set the place on fire.
Yeah.
And then obviously the in-ring was there. I'm not saying every single one of them, just like today. There's still people that aren't as better as that guy or whatever, and they don't have the total package, but maybe they do have the microphone skills.
Right.
That's just kind of, do you feel like that maybe what I'm saying is people don't do steroids anymore?
I don't know where the fuck that came from, but there it is.
Dude, I mean, it's larger than life, literally. The wrestlers I'm talking about are all on steroids, and the wrestlers now are like, hey, I don't think I want to do that. And you did say this before, to take your quote, longevity.
Yes.
You don't necessarily want to do steroids, but I just feel like that's what's missing, and I'm going to sell it as many times as I can. Do steroids. Anyway, what do you think?
Oh, my God. All right, so my thing is, all right, I will never shit on any of those guys who did it.
Yeah.
You know why? My thing is, if you're on the fucking road 300 and some odd days a fucking year beating the fuck out of your body, where and when are you going to recover?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why they did it. There was no fucking recovery time. The only time, that's why people did steroids, because you were fucking anabolic all the fucking time, and that was your recovery. So, like, that shit is out the fucking window. And then also, you don't need to be a motherfucking, first off, anybody who's that fucking big, most of them are fucking two left-footed idiots.
Right.
Who can't fucking wrestle their way out of a paper bag. So, to be an athlete, there are athletes who've done shit that, blood doping and all sorts of different shit. They didn't look like they were doing something cheating or whatever the fuck you want to call cheating is. First off, pro wrestling is not a real fucking sport. Okay?
It's not a real competition.
Yes, no. Well, there's competition in the acting, just like in the acting world.
Yeah.
You don't need to be on the fucking shit to be the number one actor in the fucking world. The fact that we are still being tested for it is fucking stupid and shouldn't be, because it's not a legit sport.
Does AEW do that?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming
it's not a competitive sport, so like whether you're on steroids or not
shouldn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Fucking it
And
doesn't.
that all started with the scandal with Vince McMahon, and we're talking about the Attitude Era, and like they had a lot of suicides, and like, of course, if you overdo anything in life, guess what happens? Nothing good. And we can say, especially me seeing, I actually witnessed, watching them work out when I was 13. I was like, this is not natural. I want to do whatever they're doing, but whatever they're doing is probably TRT or human growth or something, because they have muscles everywhere. Yeah. And you're like, dude, how did that happen? And then you realize, it is not achievable, I guess, and without doing that.
I mean, you'll never be that big without kind of doing shit. Those guys were fucking massive.
Well, I think some of those people are like specimens.
Right. Some of them are.
Just like one out of five of those guys has the genes for that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's a good point.
But then the other four are definitely
like all right. So
I assume. Anyway.
So one of my favorite wrestlers of all fucking time, come to find out, Eddie Guerrero was same fucking height as me, walking around 200 some odd fucking pounds of nothing but muscle, dude. Like, come on, what the fuck do you think? Yeah. He was 5'9".
They can't. No,
that's not fucking humanly
another guy
possible.
I got to see in real life, and I was like, that's not real.
No,
like,
he's fucking huge as fuck.
Because he's I'm 6'4".
Yeah, dude, he's
what was he?
5'8". He was
5'8".
legit.
That's
I
like
think
my
Eddie,
dad's height.
I don't know if Eddie had lifts, but
he was taller than me.
That's because on TV,
he's such a huge human. I'm saying like 4 feet away when I'm watching it, I'm going, Eddie Guerrero's taller than me. And I'm just like, well, that's why WWE Magazine put up a thing that said, look at all these dirt balls that come to the show. And it's literally a picture of me, Colby, Mike, and Derek.
It's not even a joke. That was in a magazine.
It's in a
Colby
magazine.
looking stupid as fuck. Colby's face is like...
It says, wrestling fans are all ugly.
And now one of them's on
Under
fucking
the
TV.
caption. I hope I can find this. Somebody had to have put it up on Facebook, but
I'm sure.
I want to just post that because that's legit. But, when you've seen these people, especially Chris Jericho, all these guys that came into Gold's Gym, and, that's a story in itself, but to nutshell what I'm saying, I literally thought, even though they're like 5'8", that these guys are taller than me, because I'm just a skin and bone little 13-year-old guy, like, oh my God, I love wrestling. they legitimately had guys that were monstrous, though.
Right.
And obviously, I'm saying like in height. So, when you see somebody like Kane, who you see and you look up and you go, oh, that guy could literally just strangle me to death for real.
Oh my God, he could rip your fucking arm off.
And then he plays in a movie where he is this badass ripping people's arms off and killing them. But I seen the guy in real life and I know that's way more realistic. Like that's why I like Michael Myers he wasn't small or.
Yeah, he is.
The original
Michael Myers is not. He's maybe 6 foot at most.
He was like average.
He was not a big fucking dude.
I screwed up Jason. Jason was always big, right?
They always made Jason look like a fucking monster.
No, Kane Hodder's not really that big. He's not really that tall, is he?
Is that
Kane
the original
Hodder
Jason?
In person?
No. Well, Kane Hodder played him more than fucking anybody else. He's played him 3 times.
That's why I brought him up. Yeah, he's the one that's
but I'm pretty sure he's a lot bigger than
the original.
No.
Who's the original?
The original was a kid.
Really?
Which,
in the
by the
original,
way,
obviously the killer was the mom.
he has a band now.
Yeah,
have you heard about this?
Yeah, he does. The original guy who played him in the lake.
He kid. See, this is how much he
has a band called First Jason.
Yeah,
and it's like shitty. It's like no, dude. It's like super shitty. Like
it's not good.
Drum machine death metal, which I know is funny coming from me, but like it's bad.
He always sounds like a crappier version of Black.
The whole
Jack
thing
Black.
is like it looks like he's salty about
his band
never playing him again.
About not playing Jason ever again.
Dude, I fucking knew it, dude. Hey, he's 6'2.5".
So that's pretty
That's
big.
still
he's
bigger.
taller than me. I'm not saying he wasn't taller than me.
No, he's not fucking huge by any means.
He's not like, I feel like they make Jason look like he's Predator tall.
Okay, they do. But also, John Cena in person, John Cena is like 6'2" at most. But he looks like a fucking horse. Like he's wider than a fucking doorway.
Have you watched that show?
I love it.
Is it good?
Oh
I haven't
my
watched
God,
it
I
yet.
fucking love it.
I like Suicide Squad.
Shug literally sold me. Okay, I hadn't even watched.
And it's so much 80s
I
hair
hadn't
metal.
even watched.
Because like his character loves
I
it.
keep meaning to watch it. It looks great.
Dude, it's awesome.
So I hadn't even
I'm
watched.
into dumb stuff.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So
Which he liked. He said.
By the way,
I
you
liked
should have
it.
told me
I thought it was
that.
cool.
Hey, watch Suicide Squad first, which was actually pretty good.
We didn't really have to.
I
They
watched
kind of
it
did
after. You didn't have to. You're right.
Yeah,
but
they did all that stuff at the
kinda-
beginning.
Kind of, because they showed something that happened, and I was just like, maybe I should watch that movie.
love Dumbfuck getting his face shot off in the very beginning of the movie.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
The one that's fucking Kim Kardashian now?
Yeah.
Oh, that fucking guy.
Oh man, he's on SNL.
It's like I was like, I can't stand this.
And he was the fucking rat. He was like,
Yeah, I told you guys out.
I told you they were coming.
that fucking
That guy was good. That was a good
I
scene.
just had to bring that up.
No, that was awesome. Yeah, so who were we on?
Peacemaker.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, that show was awesome, dude.
Dude's fantastic.
That show, first and foremost, watch the first episode. I believe Shug said, "Do you want to taste it?" Like once or twice.
Oh my
and
God.
I just didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. I'm like, is this a new Shug Project song?
Do you really want to taste
Could be.
it?
Now I listened to it. That is
It's
Steel
the theme.
Panther.
Yeah.
right?
No, it's not.
It's not Steel Panther.
No, Wing Wham. Is the name of the band.
Okay.
And the song is called "Do You Really Want to Taste It?" And they have a whole fucking dance.
Oh man.
At the beginning of the episode, me and my son want to learn.
Yep.
Dude, I'll never skip the intro ever.
Yeah. So as soon as Lyndon watches it, he's already going to be.
I really
in
wanna watch
when
it.
he sees the beginning.
The thing is, me and Emily watch everything at the same time, so
Yeah.
like I have to make her watch Suicide Squad, so we're on the same page.
Fucking kind of sucks.
You don't have to though.
No, it's fine. It's.
I watched the show without.
I
her
would
today
rather
and she
not
got
tag
mad, so
her
I get
along,
it.
or I would rather not like force
Yeah.
her along and watch a bunch of.
You don't have to
Right.
watch it. Logan watched it because
Really?
they do a
Did they-
recap at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it folds you in. You know all the shit that he's kind of all the shit he's been through.
But here's what I really liked was John Cena was kind of on my shit list for political reasons, but whatever. We won't get into that. It's not a political podcast.
Yeah.
And he redeemed himself. I don't even give a shit.
Yeah,
that was fucking awesome.
That was so fucking cool.
That was probably that show, and we won't spoiler alert. I'm just saying that's a show that said a lot of things and did a lot of things that are certain taboos now.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh yeah,
yes.
Oh dude, they were not afraid. They were not afraid. His dad is a
Super
racist piece of shit, and it's the guy who played the fucking Liquid Terminator in Terminator 2.
Yep.
Yeah. Patrick's his last name.
Yeah.
Come to find out, his brother is the lead singer of Filter, which I didn't have a fucking clue. All these years,
I never remember what Filter sang.
Let's just say the dad says big words.
He said, nice shot.
Yeah.
Hey, man, nice shot.
That's filter?
That's filter, bro.
Yeah.
I was thinking that's
And his brother's fucking Terminator 2 fucking
brother
liquid.
is the T-1000.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
Jason
awesome.
Patrick.
Yes.
Jason Patrick.
Yes,
Yep,
there it
Jason
is.
Patrick. He kills it in it. And
Dude, he's John Cena's dad. He's a racist piece of shit.
Yeah, he's bad. Like, it's actually where you're like, oh, shit.
I feel uncomfortable with some of the shit he's saying. You're like,
oh, yeah.
Really,
yeah,
I think there should be more racist characters.
There really
because
should
you
be.
really fucking
they
hate 'em.
exist on the planet, and you want to highlight who does really
just
suck.
It's funny.
but-
It's hilarious. I don't know.
It's hilarious at the
you
same
know,
time
you
as the
got
fact
thick
that
skin,
these
though, so
people still fucking exist.
We have thick skin, and that is why those things are funny. And it is funny.
I know.
If you
honestly,
have a guy
it is.
on the
It is.
corner and he's yelling racist slurs, you're either the person that's got to go the other way, or you just stand there like me and laugh.
It really sounds
and
like
go,
something that would happen down the street.
Dude,
Yeah,
it would.
probably.
Fucking
Yeah.
Davenport, Iowa, for
yeah.
sure.
Dude,
Yeah.
Fuck.
Dude, me and Emily walked up and down the river today, and just like it was nice. It was a beautiful day. Didn't run into any racist people yelling stuff on the corner of the street, but I was thinking at the same time, I was like, I bet. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a guy on the corner of the street yelling racist stuff at cars and this shit.
It's usually not going to be against you.
I used to work here at the Rhythm City Casino.
Oh, that would be me. You saying me?
No, he's not saying you. He's talking about
I
some
did
guy who's
work
going
there
to
at
be
the Rhythm
racist,
City
though.
Casino, and anyway.
Yeah, like 3 of you. I walked by it today. It was weird.
Yeah, it's no longer there. It's a weird thing,
it is
man.
strange.
That whole era's gone for me because I worked there for like 7 years of my life. Partying
Like 12 years
hard.
ago. Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Oh,
remember me with all the
I
dollar
fucking
bills?
remember. I remember going to Hy-Vee at like 1 a.m.
Yep.
And the people working there in the middle of the night were so used to us be like, "Rah!" Like walking in.
Oh, you know, we're
like,
loud as fuck, dude.
fucking,
There's
like,
no way
frozen
we're-
They're stocking
pizzas.
shelves. You know, Damien would be there. Like, we knew people that
We'd
were
be
working.
buying frozen pizzas.
Yep.
Pizza rolls,
Oh
chicken
my
or chicken
God,
nuggets,
yeah.
and or chicken nuggets, and more toasted caramel,
Toasted
black velvet.
caramel.
Oh my god, or just black velvet in
That's-
general. Like,
Yeah.
let's just do that whiskey,
That's
man.
the name of the episode, just black velvet in general.
I love it.
Yes.
Now I feel like we should have got some.
Oh my god.
no,
Maybe,
absolutely not.
maybe we'll have a toasted caramel episode next
Toasted-
week.
Only one shot
So,
though, because
yeah.
any more than that, we're gonna be
As long
scraping
as-
our
as
face
long
in the
as we
concrete,
start-
right?
Oh, we should do. Let's
As long
do.
as we start at the beginning of the podcast.
Let's- okay,
we'll be
here-
fine. And they will do toasted caramel. That episode's going to be insane. Hopefully we have more guests, which I keep getting hit up. wrestlingwithmusicandlife@gmail.com. If you got ideas for sponsorships, possibly, I've already been approached, but, hit me up. Like and subscribe. This was episode 4. Patreon is growing, but we need your support to continue to do this. Hit that Patreon button down there, and please join the army. If this is an army, how about the cult? That'd be cooler. Join this cult. All right. Till next time, thank you very much for watching.